Welcome to Research's Boundary Crossing Practice. This is Module 1, Lesson 1 of Transdisciplinary Pedagogy for Ethical Education. Today, we'll explore how traditional research boundaries may be limiting our ability to solve the world's most pressing problems. Let's start with a provocative question. What if the very boundaries that define traditional research disciplines are actually holding us back? Think about the challenges facing our world today. Climate change, global health crises, social inequality, educational access. These aren't problems that fit neatly into one academic box. They don't respect the boundaries between sociology, biology, economics, or education. Yet we've trained generations of researchers to work within disciplinary silos. This opening provocation challenges us to consider whether our conventional approach to research is adequate for addressing today's complex realities. Research isn't just one thing. It encompasses multiple ways of knowing and understanding the world. Scientific knowledge? Yes. But also experiential knowledge, cultural wisdom, intuitive understanding, creative insight. Each of these represents a valid way of making sense of reality. Here's the key point. No single approach captures complete understanding. When we rely only on quantitative data, we miss the lived experiences of people. When we focus solely on Western academic traditions, we overlook centuries of indigenous knowledge. Transdisciplinary research recognizes that different ways of knowing aren't competing. They're complementary. Together they create a richer, more complete picture of the phenomena we're studying. The writer Chimamanda Adichie talks about the danger of the single story. This concept applies powerfully to research. When we view problems through only one disciplinary lens, we create incomplete narratives. A psychologist might see an educational challenge purely as a cognitive issue. An economist might reduce it entirely to resource allocation. A sociologist might frame it only through power structures. Each perspective captures something true, but none captures the whole truth. The danger is that single disciplinary perspectives don't just limit understanding. They can actually constrain it. They create blind spots. They make certain questions unaskable. They render some solutions invisible. Research paradigms, the very frameworks meant to expand knowledge, can paradoxically become walls that limit how we think. Research approaches have evolved significantly over time. Let me walk you through this progression. We started with monodisciplinary research. One field, one methodology, one lens. This approach provided depth, but limited breadth. Then came multidisciplinary work, multiple disciplines contributing to a project, but working in parallel. Each maintains its own approach. Think of it as researchers from different fields in the same room, but speaking different languages. Interdisciplinary research went further. It involves disciplines integrating their approaches, creating shared frameworks, developing common language. Now we're moving toward transdisciplinary integration. This goes beyond disciplines working together. It transcends traditional boundaries entirely, creating new ways of knowing that don't fit existing categories. This evolution represents a fundamental shift in how we approach complex problems. Let's talk about why this evolution matters. The world presents us with what researchers call wicked problems. These are challenges that are complex, interconnected, and constantly changing. They're embedded in complex adaptive systems. Think about healthcare. It's not just about medicine. It involves economics, policy, culture, technology, psychology, and social structures, all influencing each other, all adapting to changes. Traditional disciplinary approaches assume problems can be isolated and analyzed separately, but wicked problems don't work that way. Real-world challenges transcend disciplinary boundaries. Therefore, our research approaches must do the same. We need integrated methods that can address complexity on its own terms. To support transdisciplinary thinking, we'll introduce what I call the 5 lenses framework. This provides a structure for approaching problems from multiple perspectives simultaneously. At the foundation is systems thinking. This is the foundational research capacity for transdisciplinary work. Systems thinking helps us see interconnections, feedback loops, emergent properties, the dynamic relationships between parts of a whole. The framework includes additional lenses we'll explore throughout this course: design thinking, complexity thinking, critical thinking, integrative thinking. Each lens offers unique insights. Together, they enable researchers to hold multiple perspectives at once. This isn't about mastering every discipline. It's about developing the capacity to think across boundaries. This brings us to a crucial insight. Research problems are interconnected, not isolated phenomena. Traditional disciplinary thinking treats problems as discrete objects, something to be separated, analyzed, and solved independently. But that's not how the world actually works. Educational outcomes connect to economic conditions, health disparities linked to social policies, environmental challenges relate to technological systems. Everything influences everything else. Understanding requires viewing across boundaries, not just within them. It means recognizing that the boundaries we've drawn between disciplines are human constructs. Useful for organizing knowledge? Yes, but not inherent in the phenomena themselves. When we research interconnected problems, we need interconnected approaches. Now it's time for a reflection. I want you to engage in what we call reflexive practice. This means turning your analytical lens on your own thinking. Your task is to map your research journey. Think about the path that brought you here, the courses you've taken, the methods you've learned, the questions you've been taught to ask. What disciplinary boundaries have shaped your thinking? This isn't about criticism. It's about awareness. Understanding our current perspective is the first step toward expanding it. Here are 2 specific questions to guide your reflection. First, what boundaries have shaped your research thinking? What assumptions about good research did you absorb from your training? What questions feel natural to ask, and which feel foreign or inappropriate? What methods feel comfortable and which seem risky? Second, which boundaries need crossing for your research interests? What problems are you passionate about? What perspectives would enrich your understanding? What collaborations might open new possibilities? Take time to think deeply about these questions. Let's bring this together. We've explored how transdisciplinary research opens new possibilities for addressing complex problems. We've seen that multiple ways of knowing provide richer understanding than any single approach. We've recognized the danger of single disciplinary stories, and we've traced the evolution from monodisciplinary to transdisciplinary thinking. Most importantly, we've begun the reflexive work of examining our own disciplinary boundaries. In our next lesson, we'll explore how to move from curiosity to formulating complex research problems. We'll build on today's foundation to develop truly integrative research questions. Thank you for your engagement today.